Hello, horror fans. It's me, Cassandra, and
Kylie,
and
Mary.
And we are the Horrorcraft Podcast. And if you check out the YouTube video, you will see my background is our new logo. We are super excited. We're in our rebrand era, which is fun because this month is Kylie's 1-year anniversary, and Mary's coming up on hers soon too. So
wow, that went by so quick.
It went by.
I feel like it was just announced that Kylie was on.
Yeah.
And me? Oh my gosh, that was last week, right?
I wish. But, so this week we are so excited because as a kickoff to our When Nature Strikes Back series, we are doing a crossover episode with our friend Captain Steve Coates, who is the honorable captain of the Bucket of Chum podcast and reviews all the crazy shark, deep sea, anything movie you could think of. So when Mary fumbled it out when we were doing Linda Hamilton for the Women in Horror, that Bermuda Tentacles, we didn't really know a lot about it. We went forward, and trust me, guys, you, as Kylie would say, you need to strap in for this episode because
we've done the work for you.
Yeah, we did the work.
We've done the work for you. Thank us. Thank us.
We did the work for you. So kick back, enjoy this episode, and if you want to go watch Bermuda Tentacles, it is on TUBI. But just listen to the episode first. We'd never do that.
We highly recommend you listen to us.
We highly recommend that you listen. So let's go ahead and dive into the deep and figure out what movie we're exactly in the midst of. So let's cue the music. Cue it. Hello, horror fans. It's me, Cassandra, and we are back after our intro. And I'm super excited because we have Captain Steve Coates from Bucket of Chum with us. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad you came on. I'm a little scared that we brought you on for this episode after watching this now. If you need reimbursement for therapy, we'll work on it.
I might take you up on that.
Yeah, same
her voice ready.
She's ready to go. So this actually kind of was like a fever dream that came out of a different episode. So we did Women in Horror. We all picked a figure in Women in Horror, and Mary picked Linda Hamilton, who makes an appearance in this movie. And we thought, we did not really read a lot about Bermuda Tentacles, but we just were like, it's going to be a giant octopus movie, and maybe Linda Hamilton is going to I was waiting for her to just go in and punch octopus
Sarah Connor it.
Yeah, I was really hoping that I was thinking that was going to be the movie we got. I'm just concerned about. So this is just going to be a fun one to explain because I feel like we all have some pretty interesting opinions across the board. But Steve, what are you doing with Bucket of Chum right now?
So by the time this episode comes out, I'm gonna have a bunch of new C6 Cinema episodes, which is a sideshow I do where I bring on guests and make them watch an absolutely terrible shark movie, which you guys will be doing at some point soon once I figure that out.
I'm down for it. I'm here for it.
So here for it.
I'm so we're ready. We're doing this.
And the episode that I'm just editing up now, it'll be out by the time this is out. It was a screener I was sent for Graveyard Shark, and it's the first shark movie screener I've been sent. I've been sent all kinds of other screeners for horror movies, but this was like the first shark related one, so that was pretty exciting. I absolutely love the movie. So go listen to that episode because it's incredible.
I'm super interested from the title of the movie.
I was like, dang, Graveyard Shark. Like,
I'm there.
That sounds pretty I automatically have questions on the bat. So I'm like, how did we get the shark to the grave? But if I've learned anything from Sharkula, anything could happen.
It doesn't have to make sense.
It doesn't have to make sense.
Oh, they explain it, and the explanation is absolutely fucking insane. Like when they were describing and showing the scene, I could not believe it, and I was laughing my ass off the whole time. Like it's incredible. Like there's so much like there's gore, blood, plenty of nudity, a rubber suit monster. So like it has everything I've kind of been craving for in a shark movie for a while now. Because a lot of movies, it's like, hey, here's a dangerous shark, but there's no blood in the movie, and I'm just like, why?
It's like, where's the fear?
Yeah, exactly. Like there's nothing. And if you're gonna make a weird movie, fine, make it weird and make it really weird. And it's like the director Matt Peters read my diary and he made the weirdest fucking thing he could and he nailed it.
That sounds amazing. I'm automatically in when we say rubber suit creature person.
Yeah.
That sounds like a mashup that I need. But yeah, I mean, that isn't that kind of the appeal of like the Piranha movies that came out, like the Piranha and the Piranha DD or whatever, is they're not necessarily the greatest, but holy shit, do you get a lot of like just fucking craziness, like people's limbs just flying everywhere and stuff. And
and the first one's great. The second one I did for Patreon, and it's a garbage movie. Like the second one actually really sucks. But there are some absolutely hilarious moments that will live in my brain forever until the day I die.
The fact
so I can't deny that.
Yeah, the fact that it's at a water park, the second one, and like the scenes with like especially Ving Rhames when he comes back in the second, and that to me, that just like made the whole movie worth it. Like it is second one is definitely a little bit more painful because it's just like not there. Like it's just like, hey, we're throwing a bunch of shit in this movie, and it's fine because I mean you do get a lot of scenes that are just kind of fucking wild. But
memory unlocked when you said Piranha, because I remember when I saw that for the first time and I never seen something like that. It kind of like paved the way a little bit, and I was like, oh, I'm here for this.
Yeah, and it's funny because the original Piranha is such a different vibe, like the one you know, late 70s, early 80s. I'll have to like put that officially in here and stuff, but yeah. Fun fact, I actually have a poster that I paid 50 cents for, and I will put it on social media and tag everyone so they see this. But I paid 50 cents for a Piranha poster that is supposed to look like it's in 3D, but it's got a bunch of piranhas like coming at you. And that's the only like scary thing that I have in this room here, because that alone terrifies my child. My child's like, why do these fish look weird?
I was scared of piranhas when I was a kid. I thought everything that had water had a piranha in it.
It's a realistic fear, I feel.
Yeah.
I thought I'd come across them a lot more as an adult.
Like we were so scared of like that thing where like we thought we'd encounter quicksand a lot more.
Yeah. Not yet.
Core memory unlocked, like we haven't come across that. Or for me, because I lived for the Mummy growing up, the scarabs, like I don't know why in my brain I thought scarabs were gonna happen here, but I was like constantly
you freak out when like June bugs hit you.
I'm like, I'm like, ugh. So But no, I'm super excited for all of that. We will definitely be on with Steve soon. We're super excited
That
because
sounds super fun.
all of us are down for a good time, and that just sounds like a great time. I'm also really excited for you to be teaming up with our friend Josh from Super Scary and doing a Jaws themed episode, which is coming out July 8th. So we will definitely, by the time that this comes out, the episode will already be out, but we will link it down in the description. We highly encourage you to go listen, to go watch this episode, because the reactions are great. And we're going to talk very specifically about a clip that happened before we joined the episode with Steve, where Mary did some really funny shit, like came on camera with something hilarious, and we will stitch it into this episode when we talk about it.
Oh no, I forgot you recorded it.
I did. So I highly encourage you to watch.
What am I missing?
When Mary came in on her bullshit, as you would like to say, when we were just recording a minute ago.
Oh my god, dude, yes.
So we will stitch that in here. So, but we're excited, I guess, to get into this episode.
I'm so excited. It was so bad, it was good.
Sort of.
Sorry. I should mention I was on Josh's show, but he was also on my show, and that episode will be out too by the time this episode comes out. We covered Jaws in Japan, aka Psycho Shark. Absolutely terrible movie, and yeah, so we had a good time bragging on that. So I think we talked about that movie longer than the actual movie was. So yeah.
I love that.
Sounds like
I love that journey, and I love that you and Josh were just chef's kiss. Like, please go and listen to both of those episodes, and go follow both of Josh and obviously Steve. But we are going to get into the synopsis of this movie that we landed
I'm
upon.
curious to hear that. What the synopsis
this is the official synopsis from IMDb.
Oh,
a violent tempest and a set of lightning flashes above the infamous Bermuda Triangle takes out one of Air Force One's engines, and President DeSanto, I didn't even know his name. That was bad.
I didn't even know his name either.
Narrowly escapes in his pod as Chief Trip Oliver and Admiral Linda Hansen's Special Force team comb the ocean to locate the president before he runs out of oxygen. Monstrous tentacles emerge from the bottom of the sea, attacking the ships and everything in sight. Now modern weapons are completely ineffective against the giant adversary, and the clock is ticking. Can they stop the beast from the sea? I don't know if I want to answer that.
Pure nonsense.
When you were reading the synopsis, I was just thinking of when I watched it with you, Cass, and you're like, why is it sparkling?
I did. I was like, are we in Twilight?
You warned me of that, but I was like,
what? I really had to question things for certain times, because I was like, oh, is this like a Twilight themed shark movie? Like, did we miss that?
We didn't know what it was.
It really did not. If you cannot tell by the way that we were talking about this, we don't do traditional deep dives on the podcast a lot of times anyways. This is not going to be a traditional deep dive. This movie, it does fall in the so bad it's good category, but only by a bare scrape. There are some
debatable.
It's debatable, and I would say it's more or less a good time to be had with your friends, so you can literally watch this and then go talk shit about it later on and be like, what the fuck did we watch together? It's definitely a trauma bonding moment in horror, but this movie is insane, and it's crazy because there's a lot of really cool people in this movie.
Really cool people in it, man.
Jamie Kennedy, Maya, we have some thoughts about Maya here in a minute. Nothing about her specifically, but we just have one comment to point out. Two. Sorry. But this I absolutely got to have the pleasure of watching this with Mary over chat. And we were actually on Messenger video when we watched it together. And just having that bonding moment with your friend watching an absolute shit movie, that is what horror is built on. That's what the Sci-Fi Channel is really built on too. So for that, I love it. But this is not a great movie, guys. I'm not going to say
Sci-Fi did a whole lot better with this one.
Yeah,
That was on my notes. Sci-Fi do fucking better.
Yeah, there are a lot of sci-fi movies that are good. There are some that are great. There are some TV shows that are fantastic from sci-fi. This does not fall in that category. This is not a great movie. It is an interesting one. It's definitely an experience to have with your friends, but I would be a fraud if I came and said on this podcast and told the world that this was a great movie, because it was not. And I say give everything a shot. I'm still saying give it a shot, because you can, if you're, tearing one off with your friend, having a drink, maybe smoking something a little bit, this would be a great time, great experience to share with your friends. But enter at your own risk. You may need therapy after this.
But if you are doing that with your friends and you're like, oh man, I must be really messed up, I don't know what's going on. No, you're not.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're not.
We didn't either.
You're not. So notes about this movie. So we're just gonna get into notes, opinions. We're gonna air everything out. First of all, Mary could have had a counter on this episode for how many times you literally heard me say, what the fuck is this movie? If we had a counter how many times I said that, we would have been plastered. Because I at least said it 20 times, probably more, if we're being honest.
The first thing that I complained about was, okay, so the president's escaping. They give him a gun. What is he going to do with a gun under the ocean?
Yeah, we were like, what? Like,
and then when they find him, spoiler alert, which I don't feel bad about.
Yeah.
They find him. I'm like, where's the gun?
Yeah. Where's the gun?
But he does have the gun later, because he does start shooting at the tentacles when they're all running away. So he had it somewhere. I don't want to know where, but he had it somewhere.
I just don't. And the whole.
I think he stored it for safekeeping.
Probably. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say about that whole setup with him getting like put in the pod and everything like that. Oh my gosh, I understand they had to sell this movie, but that scene in the plane, those people are overselling it. Like, I did not believe anybody. Like, I was just like, this ain't gonna happen. This is whoa. Like, and by the way, that is way too small of a plane to be Air Force One. Yeah. I'm just gonna point that out. Like, if we're talking logic, like, that's not Air Force One. Like, that was literally like a Boeing base model. Like, I don't know where which is then funny, because we're in that scene where they're like going around trying to find him, and there's like 27 like planes, jets, everything. Just
what is that? How did they get there? Like, what is that area?
So they've been using their tentacles to grab ships and planes, assumingly, and they are using it to power their ships somehow. I don't understand how using scrap metal powers your fucking alien ship. I guess they're just more advanced than us, because it makes no sense. And like, why the wooden ships? Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah. That's what I want to know.
Like, they should be more advanced than us.
What was so funny to Mary and I, and this is where Maya comes into this, right? The girl could not shut up about the Bermuda Triangle. Like, she was
giving no real fact. Just kept saying it's the Bermuda Triangle.
It's the Bermuda. Like, girl,
no,
we
bitch.
get it.
We get it.
But she
And
just
she
kept...
talks about the USS Cyclops, and she goes on and on and on about it. I'm like, oh my God, we get it. It's an old fucking ship. They've been around a long time. Like, I don't need this entire backstory. Like, it's pure nonsense. Just show me the wooden sailing ship, and I'll be like, oh, they've been around for a while. I can come to that conclusion on my own.
Like, we didn't need a roadmap. We definitely didn't need that hard of a roadmap. So
me and Cassandra
It didn't
were
fucking
confused.
matter.
Like,
Those things did not follow rules or maps. There was no logic, no nothing. It was the Kmart version of Alien.
Oh, I can name like 4 movies that this movie ripped off. So the president going into his pod is Escape from New York.
Yeah.
The them going down, finding this alien-like ship with the tentacles reminded me a lot of The Abyss. So they definitely ripped off that.
Yeah.
That's a good take right there.
There was a couple other ones I noticed.
know
I
what?
think there were like lines that they said, but there's definitely a bunch of other horror movies that they just blatantly ripped off.
Yeah,
and
they
tried
did.
to piece it all together.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me in certain aspects of Leviathan too.
Yes.
And I'm like,
which is just a rip off of Alien.
Which is just a rip off of, I mean, and Leviathan, to Leviathan's credit, Leviathan, even though it does rip off Alien, it at least tries to do its own thing, and it is...
Oh, it does a great job.
It does a great job, and I love it. But, like, if you're going to do 12... And at some point, tell me why I feel like we ended up in, like, 15 minutes of Ghost Ship. Like, tell me why when they went down there...
Oh, God.
And I'm
like confused. I'm like, they're walking now under the sea.
Yeah, like there was no explanation to that at all.
I'm not even trying to be funny when I say this, but for 2 seconds, I really thought I was tripping out because we were seeing them go into like an alien butthole. What it looked like. And then
pretty much
it was like a hallway that vaguely... Yeah, that looked like maybe some lady parts, which I'm really...
Well, because this ship is supposed to be alive, I guess, because they say the tentacles are attached to a central system, but then it's all in this ship, I guess, because we never actually see, like, a creature of any sort.
I was disappointed. I thought it was about a giant octopus creature with tentacles.
Same.
If you're going to put Linda Hamilton in a movie...
One minute you think it's worms.
Yeah.
Next minute,
then he's like, it's like worms. Fucking, like, what the fuck?
The alien from Alien with the face huggers. That thing.
It more or less resembled Patrick Starr from Wish. Like, truly.
Yeah.
Like you
it's the Suicide Squad starfish from Wish.
Yes.
Like, that's exactly what it is.
That's really what it is. That is great.
And can we talk about how they could
It's
not figure out that it wasn't going to work?
What?
Like,
repeat that, Mary.
It was not going to work.
Oh, how many bullets did they waste? Like, you would think after so many, like, I was like, obviously that is not where... And what got me, and I'm sorry, but I was laughing the whole way, is when people literally like get punched through the stomach through this thing, and they're trying to save those people. Like, those people are dead, man. Like, you are not dragging them off to the infirmary. They are gone. They're done. Like, you can't just reattach the hole that was just like blown out of them.
Yeah.
And we thought Jamie Kennedy, who's the doctor, was gonna die.
What a waste.
We were very shocked.
Yeah, we were like, he's gonna die. He's gonna die. I was like, oh, Jamie Kennedy's definitely gonna die. This
movie didn't need Linda Hamilton or Jamie Kennedy. They brought nothing to this movie. They were just completely wasted. Yeah. Like, that's just a thing to get people to watch this movie. Because, like, I've seen Jamie Kennedy in like smaller movies like this. Like, he's in a bunch of the Tremors movies, along the later ones, and he's okay in them. Like, he's kind of funny. But, like, he's totally wasted in this movie. He's not even funny. And, like, he's playing a serious role, but we don't get to see him enough to even matter because this movie has no flavor to it. Like, I don't know what this movie is, but it is, like, bland, stale potato chips that have been sitting out for a week. It's like, yeah, you can eat them, but it's like, do you really want to?
Yeah, out of all the choices, and listen, I am the queen of watching questionable sci-fi movies, right? Especially if it's got a vampire in it. Say less. Like I've watched some really questionable vampire shit. Like I really have. I mean, there's a reason why these guys razz me, and obviously, like I carried around a dictionary at one point about vampires. But like literally I could have my PhD in talking about it because of the fact that I literally would watch so many like movies, and it's not just them, like anything period. If you were a kid in the Midwest and you grew up with sci-fi, you watched a lot of questionable movies on sci-fi, right? This is not one of them. This is not a banger. This is not something like that you're going to look back and be like, you know what? It had some moments. It was all right. No.
There's nothing all right about this.
If you're gonna put Linda Hamilton in a movie that's talking about an octopus, she's Sarah Connor. Like, make her fucking jump on the octopus and literally just wail on it. Like, or give her like, it's the same thing you and I had talked about before with the Meg. The Meg movies are okay, but what makes it the most like egregious thing, you have Jason Statham in both of those movies.
Wasted.
He's wasted. Yeah. Like if you're gonna put Jason Statham in a movie where he's battling a prehistoric shark, like let that man literally Sylvester Stallone his shit out of a window and come after him. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I was so upset. I was so excited when I saw the trailer. I went, Jason Statham and a shark? Oh yeah. And I went and saw it, and then I was like, what? No, what was that? And then they made another one. And I'm like, why?
No, if you're gonna put him in something that's like horror adjacent, just let him rip. Like literally, just let him have the floor. Like
he needs to be ridiculously killing everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna let him do
and
it,
he's the total opposite. He's like this environmentalist and like saving the animals. And I'm like, okay, I'm all about saving the animals. Can we just not make him like a shark hunter or something? A monster hunter, even? I don't care. Like something.
Like,
and then in the second movie, when he goes, has everyone seen it? Do we care if I spoil it?
We don't care if you spoil it. I have seen the second.
I've seen it too.
Okay, so the scene where he goes deep underwater, under the trench and all of that, and then he's like, oh yeah, I don't need a scuba suit on. I'm just going to put water in my lungs and then go waltzing around and then open the door. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, this is not the abyss. I'm like, you are so deep underwater that you're dead. Like, I don't care. You're like, you're fucking dead. And then he's like, do. And then he opens his eyes and he can see clearly. Like, his vision's not clouded.
I know.
I'm just like, good God.
I know. If you're going to do something like that, I was more excited about him to be in another Expendables movie than I was to see that they were making a Meg 2, because even though I think it could have the potential, like, I knew they already weren't going to, like, he's in the Expendables and you already know he's gonna literally like run around and fuck shit up, so I'm expecting that. Like, they put Megan Fox as his girlfriend, even better. Like, give it to me. I'm cool with that. I'm Gucci. I already knew what it was when I watched it. You putting him in there and making him even more of an environmentalist, and we're gonna sit there and believe it, the man that we've literally seen pulverize the shit out of people. No, like, give him like he's part of the military, some shit happened, that's how he has all this experience, stuff like that. I'll believe that. But yeah, I mean, it's just wasted. Like, you have Sarah Connor in your movie, like literally just wind her up and let her rip. Like,
and does she have enough foundation on her face?
No, she doesn't.
No, she doesn't.
They make her.
Maya doesn't have enough eyebrow makeup.
Oh. So one eyebrow.
Her one eyebrow. Amaya is a beautiful woman. Like, we grew up with Maya. My love is like, whoa, case of the ex. Beautiful woman. You take that beautiful woman and give her one eyebrow that's just like.
Here's my thing. Why did she allow it? Like, I'm sorry. I'm sure this had to be like a bottle of barrel movie.
You got to get paid somehow.
Oh God.
Oh, speaking of Maya though, can we talk about how they tried to make it a love story?
Yeah,
there was nothing for that. Oh my God, that was so dumb.
You kind of understand why the guy who plays Trip, who is Trevor Donovan, went and did a shit ton of Hallmark movies after this, because after that experience he was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. He's like, I'm running.
Done.
He's like, at least on Hallmark I could take my shirt off and get a paycheck. Like,
I saw a tweet from him that was like a couple years ago, and he said a cheesy sci-fi movie that I did years ago is now really popular in India, and he goes, well, I guess thank you. Like, you tell, wow. He's like, I didn't really like this movie.
Oh my God.
I mean,
I wonder what Linda Hamilton has to say about this.
She let me down.
Listen, reflecting back, was this a good movie choice, Linda?
If she reflects back, it doesn't want anything to do with this movie, I will forgive her. It's people like Julianne Margulies who literally fucking killed it in Ghost Ship and then comes back and is like, you know what? I think that was a shit movie. And I'm like, what? Like, you were on Ghost Ship. Ghost Ship.
That was one of the best opening kill scenes in any movie ever.
Yeah, and you are literally at like the horror foundation. Like, you are up there in the pantheons. Don't come in here and shit in our backyard, please. Like, you did what you needed to do, and it's okay to say, you know what, it wasn't what I expected it to be. They went in a different direction, but I just still like the movie. It's okay. If Linda Hamilton reflects back on this and says, hey, a paycheck is a paycheck, I'm gonna go, you know what, Linda, I agree with you.
I could not find her quoting anything about this movie.
She probably doesn't. Like, and she is one that will come back and reflect, because when she came back and she did that one Terminator movie that ended up going really wrong, the one that they did a couple years ago, and it like went nowhere. She was like, yeah, I should have just put down the Terminator movies. I think she had like a quote that's just me like paraphrasing it, but I think like
See, that's too bad, because that movie actually wasn't terrible. It was a lot better than the one with Amelia Clark and what's his name?
I know. I think it was maybe because people weren't as receptive. Like, you have to think that's more of our reality now. Like, with AI and the different stuff, you know, I don't think that everyone's like, okay, this
maybe AI made the movie terrible to people, so they're not going to suspect, like, oh, hey guys, AI is good, don't pay attention to this, look, here's TikTok.
That's a theory.
This is my friend.
I told you.
He gets it. He gets it.
Yeah, you get an honorary sticker pack now that you Kylie dubbed you one of us.
No, but we talked about this, that they have put out movies as to see what our reaction's going to be like.
Yeah, I mean, some of them you have to really sit back and think. Like, I mean, wasn't it Cameron that came back and said, this is the whole reason why I did Terminator, was it was my belief at the time that something like this was going to happen, like where we got too invested in technology and it would come back to bite us in the ass. And I think he said that during like the writer's strike and stuff, when everyone was bringing up AI, which is true, because Kylie and I have been in conversations where they have talked about it. And like, for our friends who are stunt doubles, they were talking about, then a lot of people don't realize that was a huge part of the strike, but they were talking about copying people. So they could literally copy our friend's image and then use it in perpetuity and only pay them for a day of work. So you get $300 for your image to then be owned by this company. And you can literally get put in anything that they want to put you in, and they don't have to notify you of it.
Yeah, who was it? It was
the fan base.
It was Devin Sawa. I can't ever say his name right. He's the one that really came out of it. Like, when he did the Final Destination stuff, he said, yeah, and I signed something they could use my likeness, thinking like, oh, they're gonna make posters and promo. No, they can just put his face in the movie and he doesn't have to be in the movie.
Yeah, they did that. Like, I think he ended up having I don't know if they worked it out separately or if he
it was a big thing.
Yeah, he ended up suing them, because that's a big part why he didn't come back for this. Like, when they say, hey, he died and then Clear is the only one that's left, that was a big reason why. I can't say too mad at it though, because let's face it, Final Destination 2 terrorized the shit out of our generation. Like, I still don't want to be behind a truck, let alone a truck with logs. I still don't even like being on the highway half the time.
Dude, all the movies did that. Let's talk about that. That's a whole nother episode, but a generation is traumatized.
It is. It is, because I just had this experience at Johnny and Friends when Kylie and I were together and we went on vacation. The last day of vacation before we go to her house, we're taking stuff out to the car while the kids are at programming, and they went to their car. Jim and I went to ours. I didn't know where Jim went. I went back up to get some stuff, brought it down to the car, came back. And while I'm in this elevator, the elevator doors literally go like that. And I held the sides of the elevator and was just like, let me get out. So then we get up, and it was only one other floor to get up. And we get up, and it's like, it's doing the same thing. So you know who I ended up literally like sounding like a gremlin. So if anyone has footage of this of Johnny and Friends, I apologize in advance. But I
don't blame you.
I literally got out of the elevator. I still have like half of a 24-pack of Coke to unpack from our mini fridge. And the only thing that's left, because we cleared out the whole entire room, are those flimsy trash bags. So I double bagged, thinking that was going to help. A can falls through when I put the can in. And so I literally have to go to the person and ask for like 27. At least it seemed like it, but it was probably like 6. And I put like 15 Cokes in this, carrying it like a Santa sack, get to where the elevator is. It's still doing the same thing. Decide, oh, fuck, I'm not doing this. I'm not being in this horror movie today. Decide to go down a flight of stairs and then have to walk past a whole hallway of people unpacking, like they're packing their stuff up.
Why did you go that longest way?
I don't know, but I'm literally holding
Demon elevator.
Yeah, I'm like, I've seen this movie way too many times. So I'm holding this sack of Coke, like Santa's sack, and literally I sound like a gremlin. I'm literally like, oh my God, I just got get like screaming at myself, get to the front. And these guys are just chilling. And I'm like, you don't know what just happened.
I know. I'm just like, what's going on? What's wrong with you? Where have you been?
No.
Did a repeat of last year happen?
No, it didn't. It didn't. But no, I was just like, I don't know what I said walking down there. I just know that I may have spiritually connected with one of the gremlins at that point and may have been speaking another language. I don't know. But all I know is if I see footage of me like
Bigfoot.
It could. Bigfoot's supposed to be back there at, West Portsmouth. Maybe I spiritually, I don't know. But I say all that to say I was traumatized after both the times of doing it. I was like, oh no, I've seen this movie played out. No. And it wasn't even Final Destination. It's the elevator scene from Resident Evil that gets me. And I'm just like, no, I'm not being this person today. So, scenes in movies definitely stand out. The tentacles, like Jesus Christ, they glowed. They're
like synchronized swimming.
They're like worms.
Worms. They have. Did anyone get a close enough shot where they saw that there was like veins and they like sparkled too, but then they also glowed? It literally looked like some shit from Inside Out.
Like, yeah, there was a couple of like decent shots of the tentacles though. Like they actually did some good work with the CGI in a couple of shots, and I'm just like, really, those are the shots you chose to put your time into? Like, there's nothing more important, like maybe the end of the movie you maybe want to work on a bit. I don't know.
Whole plot.
Something.
And the fact that they literally, the thing shows up on the beach, you see a couple, like a bunch of people like running away, and then it's just implied that, oh yeah, like 20,000 people died.
Yeah, like, just like, 20,000 people died, like just nonchalantly, and I was like, that's a lot of people. They just like, and that's not realistic.
They never say where that was. Like they try to imply that they are like by Florida, the Florida coast.
Oh, they said it was Cape something, like it was some small island off of Florida or something like that. They said it very briefly when they were in the helicopter or something. Like it's so fast, like if you don't hear it, like you just miss it, and it doesn't matter.
I'm like, bro, this is not an explanation. This is not. We need a little bit as someone who's been to Florida multiple times, like if they were fighting it out via the sea and it was like as close as they said they were, like this shit would have been all over the news. Like this would have been broadcasted everywhere. Like
especially like the president being in danger, that'd have been all over the fucking news.
And the whole fact that it's like, oh, you think a creature is going to pop up at some point and they're like, oh no, it's an alien life form. What fucking alien does that shit? Okay.
Dude, when it turned into the spaceship, I was like, what?
Yeah, the only movie that works in was Nope. That's the only time that has ever worked, because it does not fucking work in this movie, because I still don't understand what the tentacles are, why it's a ship, why it's here, and why it was like stranded there all this time. And now suddenly it's like, oh, now that I have this last piece of metal, I'm ready to take off and take over the planet. Like, really? Come on.
Well, and so this is kind of a weird flex. I'm just gonna preface this, okay? But
how are you flexing anything on this movie?
We're not
no, I'm just saying the knowledge I have. This is a weird flex, okay? But one summer when I went to Christian camp, okay, there was a camp. It's called Camp Hadamus, but at the time that they had this camp, there was an additional part of the camp you could do where you could go scuba diving. And you could, for those of you who don't know, I live by Lake Erie. There are a lot of like shipwrecks around Lake Erie, especially like pirate ships and stuff like that. That's a big part of like different lore and stuff like that. Especially around Kelly's and like Port Clinton, and there's different. So we had the opportunity to actually like go dive down and look at a shipwreck. As someone who has been in the proximity of a shipwreck, someone who has been in the proximity of ships that look like that, because there still are some ships that are active that look like that are holed up. I forget what it exactly is, but it's like a historical society that preserves them. And they actually do come to port where we live in we live in Norwalk, but in Sandusky, and you could actually go on them, and some of them you can actually ride. That is not what those ships look like. That is not even remotely. That is not what shipwrecked ships look like. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not even trying to make this a weird flex, but like, I could tell you that shit is, and I could forgive a lot of things, but like that literally was just like, okay, how could we figure this out in a day? Like, I know people who have less of a budget and make fantastic fucking things from that budget. Yeah. And you're telling me that you had sci-fi money, which I understand isn't a ton of money, but you had sci-fi money and that's what you came up with.
The problem is they tried to do way too much. Like all the stuff going into the ship, the whole thing being a ship itself. You could cut all that out, replace it with a creature, and you would have all that money to spend on an awesome creature and not all this other bullshit about planes, trains, and automobiles inside of an alien ship thing, whatever this is. I feel like we don't really ever get a solid explanation of what this is.
No, and is anyone else confused about how that tentacle could come up the pond, like looking thing that looked really shallow, and like pull that guy under, and somehow it was deep enough to like kill him, but wasn't deep enough to suck the people under that literally went over it beforehand? Like, I'm still confused.
Pure wizardry.
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Oh my god. And then at one point, one of them is attacked and he starts shooting or some shit. And then one of them's like, oh, what are you shooting at? What are you shooting? What do you think we're shooting at? The whole thing that we've been fighting this whole movie. That's what we're shooting at. Like, just look around you. Like, what are you talking about?
And I'm sorry, going back to what Mary said about the like randomly throwing in a love story. Those two had Pixar makes a better love story than that. Like, let's be honest.
It was awful. There was nothing there. I didn't even fully understand it because they had a couple of like small moments, but nothing significant. And then at the end, he's like, "Oh yeah," and picks her up. I'm like, "What? What are you doing? Like,
yeah,
this is so weird."
Tangent alert. Tangent alert. But I never, after this movie, I never, ever want to hear shit about Dracula 2000, about Dracula and Mary's chemistry in that movie, because they at least had some chemistry. This was just bullshit. Like, this was just like,
they were just making shit up as long as
it was like I have more chemistry with you guys than those people did. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
I feel like sci-fi does this in a lot of their scripts. They're like, "Oh, we have a male and female character. There's only one thing we can do, guys.
Put them
smushy." Like,
smushy. Yeah.
smushy.
Like, at least make it interesting. Like, if there are
Seriously.
two, like Maya and Linda Hamilton could have run off in the sunset together, I would have been happy with that. Like, go for
That'd
you.
have been the best part of the fucking movie. What do you mean?
Right. Like, go
Yeah.
right off on that tentacle, girls. Go right off on that tentacle.
You go.
Like,
now we're
with
getting into like
annoying,
weird Japanese
toxic Oliver.
territory.
right. Yes. Now we're getting into the weird, like, we don't co-sign that. But no, and like, okay. Trevor Donovan, he can be an attractive man, right? Like, I've seen him.
He's basic.
He's basic.
Was he the discount
vanilla.
Matt Damon looking guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was Oliver.
Yeah. I'm like, he's
I have so many notes about how much he annoys me.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
He just
awful.
He was annoying, and I'm just like, I hate saying this. I love Hallmark. Okay, that is my like filter in. I love watching some Hallmark movies and stuff like that.
Palate cleanser.
It is a good palate cleanser. But like, I think we're all on the same boat that there are a lot of those men that are on the movies that are like basic white dudes. That are just like copy and paste like 15 times over.
Well, the movies are copy and paste.
Right, which I totally
It's
get.
a formula and they stick to it.
I totally get. But like, in a world of Victor Webster's, like, be one of him, not Trevor Donovan. Like, Victor Webster's in a ton of sci-fi. He's been in sci-fi. He actually was in Continuum, and he's in a bunch of Hallmark movies, and he somehow makes it interesting. So I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna be basic, at least eat up the screen. And you didn't. You failed. You were one of the 27 other white guys that were in the background. Can we talk about the glasses, the half glass from Wish? Like, we turned into 13. We turned into 13. That was like 13 ghosts. Like, you ordered the 13 ghost glasses from Temu, and they showed up broken and in half, and you just decided to rock the other half. Like, I don't know.
What were you looking at?
Wasn't that a Terminator thing?
I don't know what it was. Like, all I know is they were like, it'd be really cool in the scene if you had, if you had this one like monocle, like bro looks like literally discount Monopoly Man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand the choices that were made in this movie. Just, there were so many that you just wanted to scream at the screen and be like, what is going on? Like, do you understand what are you doing? And like, when Jamie Kennedy does finally get to be included, and he thinks he's doing like some crazy science shit where he's like, investigating into like the tentacle and stuff like that and whatever, I was like, no, like, we don't need these answers at this point. Like we literally do not.
So I found I've been looking for it. The review that
gosh,
remember the review is perfect. It's on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 1 star. By the way, it has 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is way too high.
Yeah,
it's way too high. Way too high.
It says Bermuda Tentacles attempts a plane crash, an extraterrestrial creature, and underwater battles. The end result is an atrocious CGI-filled mess. I was like, that is said beautifully.
Beautifully.
Especially the underwater battle part, because I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and like
down.
when he finally like takes the thing out with the rocket launcher and stuff like that, like that whole entire sequence, you knew that was shot in a green screen. I was like, bro, your green screen is showing. Like, I don't, and this is the same man that was like shooting off 50,000 rounds, thought he could hit something, and finally now you can hit the broadside of a barn. Like, just saying, like, we couldn't have done this 30 minutes ago, like an hour ago, saved us. I don't know, guys. This was a ride. This was a ride.
There are other movies though that are just as bad.
Yes.
But sometimes they're better.
Yeah. No, I mean, there is. So going into this whole idea of this episode, since we all traumatically went through what I feel like is like.
You can't tell, we're affected.
We're going to need therapy.
Can I talk about the submarine scene where they're rescuing the president?
Oh, yes!
And when it starts filling up with water, and then the president like comes up with an idea to help save them or whatever, he mumbles a bunch of bullshit that like I cannot even make out what he was saying. I'm like, his speech was so slurred. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, are we supposed to understand what is happening here? Because I'm like, I have no idea. And then there's a few times he talks later on, and I'm just like, dude, like, take your time, learn your lines. Like, let's just calm down a bit.
Cass knows one of the things I commented on during it was he goes from, what do we do, to all of a sudden now he's giving orders. He knows what to do.
Yeah.
Right.
We're like, you just were like huffing for oxygen a minute ago. Like we thought you were gone, bro. And now we're like coming up with a plan. Like,
plan doesn't make any sense. Like Steve said, like it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. And it's just like, you were dead, bro. You were dead. You were not coming back. And all of a sudden you got revived. And I don't know what to tell you.
And you go from, I have no idea what we should do, this is not my expertise, to I got a plan. Everyone listen to me. This is what we're doing.
Then we learn he's an ex-Marine. Like, he should know exactly what the fuck they're doing. Like, they're Marines doing a mission. That's what he used to do. Like, how do you not know what they're doing?
I don't know. I'm still hung up on the fact that they were trying to pass some of those as like military ships, because that was not. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Those were like the knockoffs that didn't make it out of boot camp.
I would really like to talk to someone who was in the military and watches these kind of movies and just see their reaction. They'd probably get very pissed off.
Yeah,
I know my dad did. My dad was in Vietnam, and a lot of the Vietnam movies, he's like, no.
Yeah, my dad was on the USS John Kennedy, and I could tell you, as someone that like saw a lot of the stuff and everything, and like the hats he had and and I was born in a military hospital. I could tell you that's not what they look like, and that area is not what it looks like either. Like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure Maya is referred to as a lieutenant in the movie, and I am fucking positive she has captain's bars on.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what she does? I realized that too. I was like,
yeah.
Like, their uniforms and stuff were just crazy.
How hard is it to Google?
I mean, but look what they had, a little plastic monocle.
Yeah.
Oh, going back to the Linda Hamilton thing, when I was looking to see if she said anything about the movie, there are so many articles announcing she's going to be in this movie. Sharknado producers are making
oh my god, this was done by the Sharknado producers.
Oh my god.
Yes. And so
Sharknado was way better than this. Come on.
And so,
well, it's probably because it's both sci-fi,
after.
so that's why they're producers. It's just because it's sci-fi. Not that they actually had any creative sense behind the movie. They're just like, yep, we give you money, you make movie, we got credit.
Yeah. But there are no articles after.
Yeah, because
nobody's talking about it after.
She saw Maya's eyebrow and she was out.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Which I'm gonna go ahead before we move on to the whole premise of this episode and where we're going with all this. And I'm going to insert a quick break here because we are going to roll the footage where Mary decided when we were in a chat earlier to have her camera off. We knew that she was doing something crazy. Pulls up on camera and she has a very over-exaggerated Maya eyebrow in homage to that. And we died.
Oh, you were a pro at getting that off quick.
Yeah. I mean, she really was like... she did it quicker than Maya did the whole entire film. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and stop, insert it here, and then we're gonna come back. So I'm recording this because whatever Mary's about to do is something that apparently we're gonna wish.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just shy.
Mary, what the fuck? Okay, Mary, show us.
I'm waiting for Kyla to get adjusted.
What are you doing, bro? I've had enough surprises today. The fuck, bro? Why did you... What? Is that makeup? Oh my god, please don't do that the whole time.
That's why she said 8:30 because then she could take it off.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have this on.
That's fucking great.
That's why I recorded.
I was laughing so hard doing it. I couldn't even handle it.
Her eyebrow was a paid extra, people. For those who are going to be watching this, her eyebrow was a paid extra. So enjoy this unfiltered moment brought to you by the Horrorcraft Podcast. Bye! Okay, so if you watch the YouTube version and you are cracking up dying, you're welcome. Thank you, Mary, for always providing us some moments, especially
you
like
never
Kylie.
know when I'm going to show up what's going to happen.
Kylie. The last episode, oh my god, she scared the fuck out of me, bro.
Oh, I don't even remember what I did.
I don't even remember what I did.
We did a Spooky Moms takeover, and everyone in the group chat has the link for when we're filming, and we're in the middle of talking, and she just popped up. Like we were mid-sentence, and you see Kylie and I both go, what?
She's like, ah!
And then it went away. Ah! Like we stopped it before she actually popped up, but like we were both like, we had to like reset afterwards because it was bad. It was bad.
Sandra, see what I did to you the other day.
She calls the group chat because we're all gonna like, you know, talk and have a kiki. And Kylie was doing something at the time, so it was just me. I open my camera to like when it opens up and stuff, and there is just a doll at Mary's computer desk with the lights off and scary music on, and it was going on for like 2 minutes, and I was like, Mary, where are you, Mary? And I was like, oh, fuck no, Mary, like what? And so finally she comes in, but she literally like hoisted up the doll. She was like, and then she tells her mom about it, and I'm just like, okay.
You're so generous with the 2 minutes. I would have given like 10 seconds and went like, nope.
Nope.
Not today, Satan.
It's a creepy like Lucille Ball one.
Yes,
my mom has. And
God.
okay, she has it across from her bed, and me and my husband and stepdaughter were always like, it watches you sleep.
It watches you sleep.
It reminded me of one of the dolls from Dolls.
Don't tell me that. No.
Yeah,
say that.
it does. It does. I'm leaving you with that trauma. Just it's okay.
You said dolls, and that's immediately what I think of as the movie Dolls. I'm like, I'm fucking good.
I mean, Mary, I would totally kick it with that old couple because I like them.
Yeah, I mean, they only got people who are terrible.
How many other movies are we going to discuss in this one?
We are going to discuss a lot because we're going to bring up a point here in a second. So the point is, this was a terrible time. However, this was a fun time to have with friends. I'm going to cue the Inside Out music. I can't really do that because Disney would copyright the shit out of us and be like, why the fuck is this, you know, horror person using. Yeah.
How dare you?
But like a core memory for me is going through this experience with Mary and us just being like, what the fuck is going on?
I literally have it in my notes. Cass, what movie is this?
What movie is this? Like, I just kept
my first note is, guys, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I was like, I'm so sorry that you have to watch this alone.
No,
like,
it's not even. You guys could have just warned me of the bad acting. You did not give me that warning at all. Like, it was like nails on chalkboard trying to get through this movie.
Yeah.
We had to deal with it.
True. This was I apologize, but it was a great time just having that experience with Mary, and I do think that we have gotten in an age, especially us as podcasters, and I wouldn't say that our group does that necessarily, like people that we hang around and stuff, but in a time where we are picking apart movies, especially in what we would call more of a horror renaissance, where we're getting a lot more horror than we normally would, especially coming out of COVID. There is something to be said that there is a place for everything in horror. And even though this was absolutely terrible, this is a bonding experience for friends. You can make a joke out of it and have a good time. I would still say, you know what are you out? If you watch this with friends and you guys watched a shit movie, you still were friends.
It's so much fun to watch a crappy horror movie with a friend.
Yeah. But there are movies that are so bad, it's good. And there are movies that, you know what, the whole premise of it is just sitting there having a good time with our friends and really just vibing out with it. And it could end up being something that we really like. So I do have some movies that we'll talk about. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that we've kind of gotten to a point where we're maybe a little harsher on some horror movies than we should be?
Absolutely.
We want so much, and then we'll get a really good movie, and then we're like, okay, I want like 10 more. Why aren't there 10 more available?
Yeah. Or just like
we're very for streaming, especially we're spoiled, because back in the day it had to be like you had to own it.
Well, you had to watch the bad ones to get to the good ones. Like, we didn't have streaming. We had cable and Blockbuster Family Video.
Yeah, and even Blockbuster was a gamble. Like Blockbuster, you could go to the video store and
it wasn't cheap.
No, it
you
was
could
not.
go to the movie store and get a movie with full intentions, like this is going to be a badass movie, and it be shit.
Yeah, truly. I mean, what about you, Steve? Because you review a lot of a very particular genre, and I know that can sometimes be a lot. Like, I know for us, like, we are constantly consuming and watching different things and keeping up not only what's popular in pop culture, but then the ones that we're trying to push out on the podcast too, and different, like, I mean, it is like a whole entire thing. So how do you feel about do you feel like we've gotten to a point where maybe we're a little too harsh on movies? Do we feel like maybe there's a line? Like, what are your opinions?
I don't think that necessarily everybody's too harsh on horror movies. I think part of the problem is now that everybody has so much access to the internet, we're just hearing a lot more voices that we didn't hear before, because like we weren't talking with other people in the neighborhood about a certain movie we rented or that we saw on cable or whatever. So there's just a lot more of that. But I also think that I'm especially critical of Hollywood horror movies. And the reason I'm critical is because they are supposed to have the money, they're supposed to have the time and the expertise to pull these movies off and pay their people well. And then we get so much bad CGI, bad writing, because they just want to push something out. And sometimes I understand some of these movies, they're geared toward teens or whatever, and that's fine. And I can understand that. But there's still some movies that I'm just like, why did this get made? There's not really a viable reason that this movie got made. And especially with Blumhouse pumping out movies, I appreciate they're putting out so much horror. I think it's great that they're exposing so many people to the genre. But I feel like when you pump out too much and a lot of them are bad, you're going to leave a bad taste in people's mouth and they're not going to want to explore that more. So I think it's important to be critical, but also respectful in a way, because even when I'm critical of a movie, even with C6 Cinema, where we just rag on movies, the filmmakers always get points for making a movie. I've never
Yeah.
made a feature film. I've made a couple of short films and that's it. They've made a feature film. They put it out there. People are watching it. That is awesome. And I'm like very happy for them. But when Hollywood puts out this trash, like I have to ask myself, like, what are they doing? And we have to start saying, like, no, we don't want this. Like, we want stuff like a movie that I can constantly talk about that people probably hate me for now is Monkey Man, because that movie has so much passion behind it. And the only reason it got a big theatrical release was because Jordan Peele picked it up from Netflix, because otherwise it was just going to go straight to streaming. And Dev Patel ran out of money at times, and he filmed a bunch of scenes with iPhones and drones and GoPros. Like, he did whatever he could to get that movie done. And that comes through on screen. And when you have a passion filmmaker, they make a good movie. When you have movies like this, like Bermuda Tentacles, you don't always have passionate filmmakers. Like, they're all just kind of doing it for the paycheck, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think some of them kind of get lost in it. Like, it starts as, oh, I'm just doing this for the paycheck. And then as they go on and on and on, they're just like, well, it's just a steady working thing, so I'm not really going to pursue anything else. But I also think people need to have certain expectations. When you hear a title like Graveyard Shark, you have to go in with certain expectations that this is not a Hollywood movie.
Yes.
This isn't Blumhouse. This isn't like whatever other companies are out there. Like, but what makes it a good movie to me, and what I really enjoyed about it, is because I was given the press release and I got to read all the history of the production company. And these people are just passionate about what they do. And again, that comes through on the screen. They had fun making the movie. I'm having fun watching the movie because I can feel that. And so with a lot of movies, if they're not having fun, I'm not having fun. If
Yeah.
they're looking like they're just there, like Linda Hamilton looked fucking miserable this entire movie.
She
and I don't
did.
blame her, right? Like, and so I'm not having a good time because she doesn't look like she's having a good time. And not just her character, like it's just like her. Like she
She
is
looks
just not
pained.
having it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and it's something to be said about that. I do get where you're coming from, because a big thing for me is, if at least if you're doing something original and you're taking a shot for something and you swing and you miss, okay, you missed, but you did what you wanted to do. And we've had a lot of people on where we've talked about their movies, and there were certain things that they wanted to do that they didn't get done.
Yeah.
You know, like Gavin, the whole reason that Scare House came together was because he had a different movie, and that plan had to get scrapped because it was involving like shootings and stuff like that, and there were a bunch of school shootings at the time, so they had to figure out, okay, we're going to do another thing. And the fact that he took literally like this idea of, okay, I'm working, helping out my friend at this scare house, and somebody could just hide a body, and then he took it and ran with it that way, and him and Sarah making it the way that they did. I mean, that it takes a lot, and I mean, they are very meticulous in it, and that is a movie that doesn't have a lot of like the, you know, the extra accoutrements and stuff like that, but there are
But
scenes
it's
in
still
there,
really good.
that are
It's so
terrifying.
good.
Like the corset scene Kylie was just talking about, like they have anthrax in the pillowcases and have like a whole, like the fact that they took a swing for that. And there are a lot of movies that I feel like are coming out with that. Like, one that I'm really excited for is the Alien Romulus. And I think the reason I'm excited for it is because I feel like Fev Alvarez has proved time and time again that if you give him the parameters, he can work within it. And the fact that he's doing it where it's not affecting the original timeline, this is something that's just getting added. It's in between the first and the second movie, and we're kind of getting more context into it. I think it's great. And to be honest, I was not a fan of you know, I was not a fan of Alien Covenant and the movies that they were trying to do, like the prequels and stuff like that. To me, Alien is Ripley, is the face huggers, is the big, you know, alien getting up in your shits. Like, that is my kind of movie. But I do think that we need to realize that some movies can definitely use an update. There are times where it is good for us to go back and revisit. You know, Tim Curry was a big one about that with it. Like when Bill Skarsgård came in and did it, you know, like he was saying at the time, they didn't have the technology to do some of the stuff that Stephen King envisioned. So the fact that they came back and redid it, you know, he was a proponent of that. I think there are movies like that where we can come back. But if you're doing something that's like a shot for shot recreation or something that just really didn't need to be remade, I agree. Like I just kind of I want more original. Like Longlegs is going to be coming out, and I, you know, they just released the trailer for that. They really didn't give a lot away, and I've heard a lot of people like hyping it up, and I'm not one to believe like overhype, but I've heard some really people that I trust say it's going to be great, and I'm excited for it. But I feel like
Nicolas Cage is horror is his jam. The horror movies that he's in are really good.
Yeah, and he doesn't get enough credit for that, especially Willy's Wonderland. Like doing that
Yeah.
whole
He didn't
movie.
say a word.
Yeah, he didn't say a whole word in that movie. And the fact that he did like so much within it without needing to do like that's a huge thing. And we can have things that are in the same thing. So a lot of people were critical of Five Nights at Freddy's because they wanted it to be more like Willy's Wonderland. Well, Five Nights at Freddy's is a kids video game series. Like it's a preteens. My child plays that game. He is 11. Like it's meant to be a starter scary movie. It's not meant to be like Ghost Ship right off the bat. Like it's meant to be more latent scares. We need those movies that are kind of the starters, because think about it, some of us just got traumatized into horror, but then others of us, like our parents kind of stepped us up too, like, okay, you're ready for these kind of movies now. And this, like, you need something that's going to connect with your kid. And for me, that did a big thing. My kid kind of had an interest in horror, but really didn't. But after Five Nights at Freddy's, he's like, you know what? I think I'm going to watch some more things. So he's watched some other stuff, like obviously within his own comfort zone, but like he shocked the hell out of me when he knew who Bruce the Shark was the other day. He was like, yeah, I watched clips of Jaws on YouTube, Mom. I was like, you don't have to watch clips. It's literally in our voodoo. Like, you go watch Jaws. Like, it's an animatronic shark, Brayden. Like, I don't think you're going to be scared of it.
Jaws is a movie that is heavily quoted in my house.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, you're going to need a bigger boat. Yeah.
My husband can do the whole mumbling speech of the captain.
That's talent. But so I wanted to come up with some movie suggestions of some movies that are so bad it's good. Some of these movies are horror classics, but I mean they've been misaligned as
I'm upset about one of them.
So
I literally had a birthday party around it.
The first one is Brain Dead / Dead Alive, which is currently on Vudu. It is
love it.
Yeah, Peter Jackson, zombies. It's just kind of all over the fucking place. It's fantastic. Like
you name
great.
it, it's in the movie.
Yeah, it really is. Like the lawnmower scene.
Oh, incredible.
You cannot tell me that is like grade A shit. The fact that he sat there and thought, you know what this movie needs? A lawnmower to a bunch of zombies. And
if he didn't already do enough.
Yeah, like the fact that yeah, like the whole thing. So another one is Sleepaway Camp, which is currently on TUBI.
I met Felissa Rose at a convention a couple of years ago.
I'm cool. Jelly.
That's cool.
I'm jelly.
She was so nice. She is like one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah, she is. I feel like we're so lucky because a lot of the people that like we respect from some of the older movies, they're just such genuine people. Like I know so many people who have met Felissa Rose, who have met Matthew Lillard, who have met Skeet Ulrich, who have met a lot of these people.
Bill Moseley.
Nicest
dude. And then when you meet him, that was like a dream for me and my husband because we're big Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 fans. And it was awesome because he was so sweet. And then when you go to take your picture, he gets into character. And then he's back to being this super nice guy.
But I mean, same way with David Howard Thornton. Like, I'm not just name dropping it because he's been on here, but like honestly, like having some of the conversations that we had, like side conversations that weren't even part of the podcast, just relating to him on a human level, like he doesn't have to do that. He is a bona fide star. He has put in his time, his work, but he just loves people. And he would be the first person, like if we saw each other cross from a room, he'd probably be the first person to pick me out and be like, hey, you know, and come up and give me a hug and stuff, because that's how genuine he is. We are lucky in the fact that we do get a lot of people like that. And in regards to Bill Moseley, whoever decided to run him over and that whole situation, yeah, we're done.
You got a community after you.
Yeah, you got like there are so many people you could take out in the world, and you try to take out Bill Moseley, like jail, immediate jail. Like that's where I hope you're going. But off on that tangent, Slither is a good one.
Slither is amazing.
Slither
James Gunn is such an incredible and underrated filmmaker. It drives me nuts that he's getting so much hate about the DC universe because everybody keeps like just jizzing all over Zack Snyder's movies for whatever reason. But like James Gunn is such a talented filmmaker.
He is.
Like he can do so much with so little, and now they've given him a budget. I'm like, we're gonna get everything we've wanted. Like let the man do what he's gonna do. And like Slither is a prime example. Like that's not a big budget movie. But it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
it's a great movie.
He's proven time and time again that he does make great movies. I mean, I think he's super talented, and I think that he's just
and he started with Trauma. Like that's incredible.
Yeah, the fact that you started, and that's a feat in itself. So great. This is one that I watched recently and I talked about on an episode of the podcast, and I was like, I don't know why I haven't seen this before. I think I have, but I don't remember it. And I don't understand how I don't remember, because this is all the way fucked. And that is Feast.
Oh, hell yeah.
Feast is like, you cannot go in that movie taking it a bit serious. You will get your feelings hurt. You really,
it's personal.
Yeah. Feast is like, I mean, like, children die. Like there are so many, like we talked about Cheese with his trigger warnings, like the pages and stuff. Literally that movie needs like if you are somebody who is easily offended by different, skip that one, because it's just it literally throws everything in there. It's just like, okay, we didn't get enough of this, let's just throw more things in here. It's great. Bats is another one.
Bats.
I do too. There's something like, I mean, it's not a great movie by any means,
it is not.
But like I'm there for it. Like we're figuring out where the bats come. Okay, I'm good.
Can we talk about how much different bat lore is in all the different vampire movies?
Yeah.
Like there always something different about bats.
There really is. I can't say anything. Again, I consume way too much vampire media as a whole. Sharkula, obviously, because we're talking with Steve. I would prefer Sharkula any day over this movie that we're talking about right now. Like, Sharkula at least is a good time. It's got a different concept.
A concept that a shark gets bitten by a vampire.
Oh, it gets better. They're doing like the whole universal monster thing. So like there's already been Sharkenstein, which is incredible. Sharkula is already out. And I just did a trailer react on YouTube for Mummy Shark, which should be coming soon. So I'm hoping we get like Wolf Shark after that or something. That would be incredible.
I need it. I need it all. I need it.
Yeah.
All.
Invisible shark. Oh, that would be terrifying.
That would be horrifying. That would probably be the only like invisible man.
Shark, a mummy shark? Like,
I mean, it could happen.
He's wrapped in seaweed.
Yeah. I mean, it could happen. Like,
I'm talking about an invisible shark. Like,
yeah.
Like the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
There is a movie called Invisible Shark. I haven't seen it yet. It's done by a filmmaker called, I think their name is Cody Clark. I haven't seen any of their movies yet. I think they're all on YouTube, but They're like very low budget. I haven't seen them yet, but apparently
I
there
need to
is
write
an
that down.
invisible shark in there. So
The next one is Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
That
I
doesn't get
love that
enough.
movie.
That
is
does
so
not.
good.
That does not. And it's so sad that the one teenager died from that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it just breaks my heart because that movie is fantastic. Like, that is the definition of taking just such a like simple concept on its like, you know, on paper and turning it into so much more. This is another one that is my favorite. And Scout's Guide is on TUBI, where a lot of these are. We'll link it in the description down below. Dead and Breakfast, that is on YouTube. If you have never seen Dead and Breakfast, it is quite literally a fucking fever dream. It's got Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it. It's got a shit ton of people, like a shit ton of stars that you'll be like, what the fuck? There's like musical numbers with zombies, like music woven in. There's like so many different things that happen. The way that they become zombies is by some monk voodoo shit. Like it's crazy all across the board. It is really like you cannot go into it seriously, but it's a great time. It is a great time.
I love the way you described it.
I haven't been able to find anything to watch or even like anything to concentrate on since I watched Bermuda Tentacles.
Watch Dead and Breakfast and you'll tap back in. It's a lot. But we could not talk about this list without putting like the epitome of what you would think of a bad movie that so many people have like just attached themselves to. Troll 2. Like, I mean, Troll 2 really you can't take seriously, and it is a movie that's just like that when he's like they're eating her, and that whole entire fucking scene. Done. Steve, do you have any suggestions, shark related or not, for some movies that maybe people want to check out even in place of this movie?
Yeah, actually, if you're looking for more aquatic like comedy that's done way better, I did a Patreon episode on this movie called Crabs, and it's now on Tubi.
Yes!
And it is absolutely incredible. There's a lot of practical effects. The CG that they do use is done so well because they knew how to work with what they had within their budget. And I even messaged the filmmaker a couple times and just told him like how much I love the movie, and he was like really happy to hear that. So that was cool. So yeah, that's definitely one to check out. Crabs is amazing. I cannot talk about it enough.
Crabs is a great movie.
The band who did the music did my theme song. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's definitely worth checking out. I'm not sure if it's on Tubi, but one that I always talk about is Sky Sharks and Ghost Shark.
Yes. Both
of those movies I would highly recommend. Ghost Shark is absolutely ridiculous, but it is done so well. It's just incredible. It's gory, it's stupid, it's a blast.
I love that. And we'll definitely link that down in below. Now to end this episode, we're going to talk about our week in horror. This is where we talk about something that we're kind of stuck on in horror this week. And Mary, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. I've actually been stuck on going into vampire lore because I watched a movie that was part of the episode's out now, so I could say it. It's
Dracula Untold.
Dracula Untold. I even made like a fun TikTok with it, and I was blown away by how good that movie was. But I have done deep dives before on Vlad the Impaler, so it was really interesting to go see how much of history they used. So right now, yeah, vampire lore. I'm in my hyperfixation of deep diving into that.
I love that. Kylie, what about you?
Man, I got 2 kabwowies this week. I finished season 2 of From. That was phenomenal. And interviewed the season 2 finale of Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor. If you have not seen From, go watch it. Our lovely friend Jamie McGuire plays Mr. Smiley. But From is crazy. Steve, have you ever seen From before?
I haven't. It's on my list, but I haven't
Oh,
seen
we
it
need to
yet.
hook you up. So
Yeah.
basically what it is it's this, we don't know if it's a time loop, we don't know what it is, but people get stuck in this town and they're trying to figure out a way out. Well, at night these monsters come out and you have to follow like certain rules to keep them out and stuff. But if you let them in, or if you're out and they tear you apart, like I'm telling you, like visceral. It's made by the same people who did Lost, but it's fantastic. But our
Okay.
friend Jamie is on there, and he was actually a background character. He was one of the monsters, and because he's so terrifying, he has a terrifying natural smile that's just creepy. He got dubbed Mr. Smiley, and they gave him a whole like plot line for season 2.
And when you think of From, you think of him.
Yeah, because he's
Yeah.
on the season 2 poster.
Okay.
Interview with the Vampire 2. I'm still not over that. Yeah,
I just hope they're in production soon of
Yeah.
season 3, because
if you liked Anne Rice's works, I would highly recommend watching Interview with the Vampire, the TV show. It makes you realize that there was a lot left out in the movie, both Interview with the Vampire and Queen of the Damned, and they're building like a it's done by AMC, so kind of like how they do The Walking Dead, they're building a whole universe. So they have like Mayfair witches, and now they're going to have one called the Talamascus, which is based on their like secret society that takes care of all these like witches, vampires and stuff. And they'll go on different directions too, because obviously there's more different types of vampires and stuff like that. So it's fantastic. But yeah, those were good ones. I'm stuck on Longlegs because of the fact that it is being called like the next Silence of the Lambs, and I am a big proponent of Silence of the Lambs. I'm a big proponent of the Hannibal Lecter period. Like Hannibal the series was one of
The
my
series
favorite.
needs more credit.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mad
series is
Mikkelsen.
awesome.
Oh, him at Mad Mikkelsen as Hannibal Lecter. That is a tough act to
Jeff's
follow up.
kiss.
Yeah. And I love that. But there's a lot. I like the fact that Neon is not showing us what Nicolas Cage looks like as Longlegs, and there is actually a phone number. I will see if we can put it down in the description of this, where you can call, and it's Nicolas Cage's voice as Longlegs, and it creeps you the fuck out. Horror Chronicles did a video on this where she called the number, and it's fucking terrifying.
I like when they do stuff like that, like trailers like that.
Yeah.
Because one thing, my husband won't watch trailers because he says it spoils the movie too much, because they pretty much show you everything. And I like it when they do those, like where it's still the mystery of it, but it has you wanting to watch it.
Yeah. And I'm super hyped for Maxine.
I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I heard it's the goriest.
Yeah.
And that it's truly screwed up, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think it's going to be a great ending. Kylie and I were talking about just trying to go see it together when we are at GhoulieCon. If you by this time when the episode comes out, we will have been at GhoulieCon. But you can check out all of our footage from there. We are actually doing a panel at GhoulieCon where we are doing horror Reddit stories. If you have not listened to our versions of horror Reddit stories, listen to them. We are probably going to get Steve to come on for one of those, because I want to know his reactions to some of the ones that we do, because we do real life, like, creepy encounters, let's not meet and stuff like that. And it gets pretty fucked, if I'm gonna be honest. So I really am gonna owe you the therapy at that point. But I'm really excited for that, really excited for the movies that are coming out, because I do think we're getting some really good movies the next couple of months, peppered in with some other ones that are questionable, but I'm okay with that. So I think that that's going to be great. But yeah, if anybody does call that phone number, let us know, and let us know how it traumatized you. I'm not responsible for that. So, but I'm excited because Nicolas Cage, if you did not know, he is probably going to retire in the next like 2-3 years. He said that. So this is supposed to be like one of his last films that he's going to do for a while. And I think he's doing that for a reason because he looks absolutely fucking terrifying in this. So I'm super excited for that. I like him in horror. I think he has a really big space in there now.
He
and
does
I'm
really
excited.
go with it.
Yeah, Mandy, Willy's Wonderland.
Pay the Ghost. I'm obsessed with that movie.
Pay the Ghost. A lot of different ones. I mean, even taking it back to Vampire's Kiss, that was something else. But I'm here for it. So, Steve, are you obsessed with anything this week in horror?
Yeah, there's a couple things I've been obsessed with. I've been watching like a lot of indie horror on just Tubi, like just scrolling through, watching.
You can find some little gems that way.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of great stuff on there. And I've also been really obsessed with French horror lately. After watching like Under Paris, before I watched it, I wanted to go and watch Frontiers, which is another film the filmmaker had done. That was incredible. And I'd watched Infested on Shudder, which was amazing. So yeah, I've just been super impressed with what they've been doing. And I'm like, I gotta watch more like foreign horror movies. And I was watching When Evil Lurks on Shudder, which is a Spanish movie, I believe, and that's incredible too. Like the foreign horror market is just so amazing.
Chef's kiss.
If people would just give it a chance, and read the subtitles, it's okay.
Yeah,
because they put out bangers.
Yeah, I mean, if Train to Busan wasn't enough to like push you in that direction, there are so many others that will. I totally agree with that. Have you seen Martyrs?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is one film that has fucked me up. I loved it because it's beautiful, right? Like the whole like. But it's definitely an extreme film, and it's definitely one that you're not going to watch twice. Like you're just not going to go back, and
probably not.
No.
Another French one I would recommend is a Christmas movie called Dial Code Santa Claus, which is basically a French Home Alone with a lot more violence. So I highly recommend that one.
I would definitely want to see that. There is another one that came out that is called Something is in the Barn. I think it is.
Heard about that.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I watched it a couple weeks ago before we went, like it was literally like the weekend before we went to Johnny and Friends, and I loved it. Like it takes place in Norway. There is it's like half and half. So there is a lot of people like speaking their native language, but then also too. And if you have never seen Rare Exports, that is another fantastic
we have movie. An episode on it.
Yeah, we do. But I mean, like the fact that is not more known in the horror like genre, I get so upset because that is literally like it's just everything.
It's brilliant.
It's so brilliant, and I think I agree. And I'm actually kind of a little upset right now that they're doing Speak No Evil. They're doing the American version because I really don't think we needed that. I'm a fan of James McAvoy in any capacity, but I kind of am like, that we didn't need that. We didn't need that. The other one was great. They do a lot
of things we don't need, to be honest.
They do. Yeah. So,
has anyone seen The Strangers Chapter 1?
No,
I haven't seen. I've heard kind of bad reviews about it.
Oh, good God! It's so bad.
That breaks my heart too, because the first one.
Make sure you stay for all the mid-credit scenes.
Oh,
that's the scariest movie to me because that line still scares me. Like, why? Because you were home.
They do that line and they change it a little bit, and it just doesn't quite have the same sting to it. And it's more or less a remake of the first one, which they advertise this as like giving us the origins of the Strangers, which we don't really get. And now we have 2 more movies coming of this nonsense. Of course, I'm gonna watch both of them.
I don't think they're happening.
They're awful.
I don't think they're happening.
I hope not.
There was a really bad response to this one.
Yeah, there is.
It's so bad.
It really is. So, yeah, I don't think they're gonna do it because I think they've gotten such a bad reception from like what they're doing with this, that like I think they may have started filming the other one, but I have a feeling that they're probably not going to try to do the third one.
I think they filmed one movie, but they ended up filming so much that they're just turning it into like 3 movies. So they already had like a ton of footage.
Yeah.
This like could just end up being like a tax write-off or something, or kind of like what happened with the Exorcist series. Like they're not following that, but Mike Flanagan is making the next Exorcist movie, which I am super excited about.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. We can't really say anything bad about Exorcist Believer because Kylie's cousin is a producer on it.
Okay.
So, but
I liked it.
I think it's going to be a tough act to follow any movie that has that much of a cult status. So I have not seen it yet, but I'm definitely going to watch Exorcist Believer. But I do think that we're harder on some movies than we need to be. Like there, at this point, we're going to have continuations of other movies, and it's okay. And like we were just talking about with The Strangers, because you kind of build this as, okay, this is going to be a different movie, and it's the same movie, but you fucked it up. And like, I know people were telling me that there's very like stupid tropes in that where like they fall down, like the gun reloading and stuff. If I'm spoiling this for you, you listening, I'm so sorry, but I really don't give a shit. Because the first one is great. And I think that is such a hard movie to follow. So I felt like that's one that we could have just left on the shelf. We could have just left. Do we
really need to know about them?
I don't think we
scarier.
Well, don't worry, you're not going to, because they still don't tell us anything.
I don't think we need to. Like the whole premise of it is like building off of the Manson murders, like in that element of like helter skelter kind of stuff.
It's scary that we don't know who they are, what they are. Like I don't care who they are. Like the fact that there's like, oh, because you were home. That's all I need to know to make them scary as shit.
Exactly. And my whole thing with that too is, listen, I am not going to hear any more slander about the second one, Strangers Pray at Night.
I love that movie.
Because that one is fantastic and doesn't get enough credit. And it's a completely separate, different movie than the first one.
Oh, absolutely.
You're telling me that we're going to sit back here and act like this one that just basically did like a shot-for-shot recreation, but in a different font is better. I'm not going to tolerate the slander. I'm sorry. There are many things that I stand for. That's going to be one of them, because that was a good movie. Like that had a different concept. It was very campy. It wasn't the first one, so it was definitely different. And those were the only 2 movies we needed. We could have just left it there. It would have been fine. I understand, legacy sequels and getting certain things. A legacy sequel done right is great. It's great context. Like the first Halloween, we talked about it for Mother's Day, Halloween 2018. That was fantastic because that was the show off that we needed. We needed Jamie Lee Curtis to go fucking ham on him and get that. We got that. And it is a very deep psychological like study on generational trauma. And that's why we did it for Mother's Day, because we talked about how something like being terrorized the way she was in the original could affect you, especially generationally, like how that trickles down. So I think that's fantastic, but there are some that we could just leave alone. And I think The Strangers, we don't need to know what they're doing. We don't need to know who they are. I mean, it's fine. Like we could just tiptoe out and we'll be good. But yeah, I'm not watching it. Really.
Dr. Sleep did it perfectly. That is an absolutely perfect legacy sequel. And still its own separate movie at the same time. That's why I'm excited for Mike Flanagan to take on The Exorcist, because he knows what he's doing. Like if you've watched any of his TV series, like the man knows how to write. The Fall of the House of Usher is one of the greatest things I've seen on TV. Like it's at least better than the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones. So I mean, there's that.
Yeah, I have not been able to watch the House of the Fall Usher, but that is one of my favorite.
Me too. It's on my list, but I've heard just My mother-in-law is
started
always
watching
yelling
it.
at me, watch it.
Yeah, I want to watch it, but I'm a proponent of anything because this is gonna be a spicy take. People are not gonna like this, but to me, the original Shining is just a little bit underrated, especially
Well, it's
compared
not
to
even the book.
it's compared to Doctor Sleep. I just feel like
Yeah.
Doctor Sleep is so much more that we kind of wanted, and it does perfectly marry both Kubrick's vision for The Shining and Stephen King, and it gives this layer that, and it doesn't shy away from those themes. It's really beautiful in the way they do it because it's fucked up. Like, we're talking about kids getting murdered. We're talking about this kid who literally had to survive his dad losing his shit on him, only to be stuck with this major psychological trauma and become this person he didn't want to be. And then now he has to deal with this, and it's like a whole other level. Plus, the villainess in that movie is just like top tier. So I love that. I mean, I respect the place The Shining has in horror, and obviously my family's from Colorado. I've been near that. I know where the Stanley Hotel is. I've seen it. I would not spend time there. Um, you can get stuck there. That is a very realistic thing. I tell people that all the time, but I just like Dr. Sleep so much better. I think it's just done better, and I just think it's so beautiful in the way it moves. So I too am excited because I just feel like Mike Flanagan really thinks about things, and he will be very respectful, and I'm excited for that. But yeah, I like that. So I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was this week in horror. Please go check out everything. If you watch Interview with the Vampire or From, sound off in the comments because Kylie and I need people to talk to. Mary's catching up.
I'll be
So we
I'll be
can-
caught up by the time this airs.
Yeah, she'll be caught up by the time this airs. But they
On both
dropped a
things.
they dropped a major thing for Interview with the Vampire that has Kylie and I over here like, what the fuck are we about to get into?
I made them go to another chat.
Yeah, we had to go to another chat. We couldn't talk about that. But I'm excited for what things are going to happen in the future. And I am really appreciative that we are in a space and time where horror TV is kind of making a comeback with like this
Great.
and like the Chucky series. The Chucky series, I mean, just like the stuff that Don Mancini is doing with that TV show, next level. Like the fact that Devon Sawa has played like 6 different characters in that show and you never once question any of that is just hilarious. But also
I love that he's back. I love it.
I do
Same.
too. I do too. I'm here for the Devon Sawa renaissance. We
Yeah.
love you, Devon, and I think just keep giving us the content. We're ready for it. So I'm super excited for how things are taking off in that way, and how a lot of different characters are going to be getting different TV series, because I think that that's obviously there is a art behind it, because like we're saying, Interview with the Vampire, like I'm telling you, it's so much richer as a TV show. It really is. So definitely tap into that. That is on AMC Plus, and From is on MGM Plus. And Jamie McGuire, if you're out there, we love you. We're sending love your way, and we can't wait to share more people. We sound like cult leaders for From, but I mean, at this point, like we're just accepting it. Yeah, we're just accepting it. So Steve, thank you so much for coming on. Like I appreciate the fact that you watched this movie. You came in here and you're like, okay, let's go ahead and talk some shit.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me on. It's been great. The movie wasn't great, but it's been great shitting on it with all of you.
Yeah, we appreciate you tapping into this. So, and we are super excited to make our way over to your podcast sometime soon. So we will definitely plug that, but definitely go check out Steve. Go check out his appearance on Super Scary and Josh's appearance on his podcast. And yeah, just tap in, because everyone needs a good deep sea creature movie, and Steve is the captain of it. He is navigating those waters, and he is doing the good work out here for everyone. So please go and listen to every episode because we love him. He is a very loved member of our Horrorcraft family. So until next time, it's me, Cassandra, and
Kylie,
and
Mary,
and Steve. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
But until next time, stay spooky. Bye.
bye.